when we look at Google, Alphabet's cloud sales lagged by 2%. This was, behind estimates. It's the second hyperscaler to lag on this front in the last week. Microsoft last week posted disappointing cloud numbers. What's driving the decline for Google specifically? Because the Microsoft story was a little bit different there.
Yeah, I mean, the common thread is Google and Microsoft are indicating, slower growth. Now, I want to be clear, last quarter was an anomaly for Google, so growth went to 35 and then went to 30 this last quarter, so I think everyone is concerned about the magnitude, but they did say there was some one-time items. Growth in Q4 is still up from the front half of the year, so it's not like things are falling out of the sky, and even for Microsoft, right, they had low 30% growth. They wanted to see mid-30s, and they didn't see that acceleration. They took that off the table. So we're still talking, 30% growth across both companies. And we're at the beginning of the AI change. So I'd be careful to look at just one quarter and say it's a massive trend. The trend has actually been pretty healthy. And then I think the other thing is you kind of have this bug zapper light, as we call it, with AI. Everyone gets attracted to this light over here and says, AI, and then they forget about the core workloads, right? And so Microsoft highlighted that their AI piece was strong, the non-AI piece was a little weaker. So I think part of this is we're on a journey. We're at the beginning of the journey. There are going to be some rocks and pebbles and, barking dogs that cross the path on the way you got to navigate. And it's not like a straight line up. But ultimately, I think it's pretty good. Now
but Brent, just on the pretty good thing, can I just ask about the $75 billion capex though? Because we are trying to understand whether you should be committing such significant investment at this time if the return on AI is still questioned.
100% you should be committing. The question that everyone's asking, and every company, when you ask the companies this question, and Microsoft will say, do you want us to get 5% market share or 50? We're at one of the biggest tectonic shifts. The CEO of Medtronic, every board in America globally, we're talking about China taking down $1 trillion of market cap last Monday. Do you want to be involved or not? And there's a price to admission. And so this is very clear that the time to spend is now, and the time to spend is not in 4, 5, 6 quarters.
To your point, what happened last Monday, the takedown that was born by DeepSeek. And actually, we did hear from Sundar Pichai talking about DeepSeek. Just take a listen, Brent.
There's been a lot of observations on DeepSeek. First of all, I think tremendous team. I think they've done very, very good work. I would say both are 2.0 flash models or 2.0 flash thinking models. They are some of the most efficient models out there, including comparing to DeepSeek's.
From your perspective, does Alphabet able to compete when it comes to cheaper models?
Yeah, I mean, look, the China training thing is nonsense. Okay, David Sachs from the White House came out and said it's nonsense. Okay, so we got to get that off the table. The technology's there, but the training run costing $6 million is nonsense. So I think, look, they're going to be. We have software companies using 25 LLMs, Atlassian 25, Intuit using 10. These are all going to commoditize, and they're all going to have a place. And DeepSeek will have a place, but it's not this. You open your garage door with one button, and you open your iPhone with another button. There's going to be multiple buttons. Okay, it's not just one. And so we think ultimately, the big platforms with the users, with the capital and the data win. And Google has a lot of data, and they have a lot of great technology. So again, this is why Meta is doing so well. Meta's going to perform very well with Llama. So we are a believer that, look, better AI efficiency will come, but it's not coming at the pace that the market thinks with DeepSeek. It's just not. And look at all the capex numbers. Between Meta and Google, they've raised capex by $25 billion. If it was that efficient, these are pretty smart companies. They don't want to waste shareholder money. They don't want to waste. They have a lot of employees that work there because they get paid in stock. Like, they wouldn't do this if they felt like, oh yeah, it's so efficient. Like, why would you jack up the numbers as much as they have? So again, I think everyone's being misled by one comment from a Chinese firm that you can't validate the spend. And
Brent, I'm curious if you can kind of speak to maybe, shifting back to Google's bread and butter, search, YouTube, and bring in the artificial intelligence picture here, because while we're seeing some of this still kind of come out on the cloud side, what sort of benefit are investors pricing in on the YouTube and search side? What AI boost are you expecting there in the next couple quarters?
Well, no one's pricing in anything today. So obviously stock's off big on this kind of, minor miss, if you will. But ultimately, we think AI is going to have a huge role. Like, you look at Gemini, I've been using it every day. And over time, Gemini is going to get smarter. And I think there's a role of core search. I'm looking for a restaurant. I'm looking for hours of a local small business I need to visit. I need to get an answer of what's the population of Iceland. And I want to ask Gemini, or I want a quick response in Gemini. These things are going to effectively, I think, search and what's happening with AI and these AI agents are going to effectively melt together, and so it'll be a seamless experience. I think Google can do this. So there'll be times where you see an ad and sometimes you don't. Is that going to force advertisers to run away? I don't think so. Look at YouTube, great numbers. Look at core search, good numbers. The issue in Google's quarter has nothing to do with the core business. It has to do with the smallest business, the cloud, and capex is up massively. Guess what? Meta, Microsoft, everyone else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And you got to do it right now. So,
and look,
we've said this AI journey is going to take time. It's going to be a long journey, and we're at the beginning of it.